Worst part of treachery is when a trusted friend or acquaintance, never an enemy, does it. The hood never lied. And as they say, the rats in the hood get restless as the journey becomes difficult. I'll show you how an OTF member responded when Lil Durk called him a snitch in this video. Lil Durk's crib appears to include rats. Disaster. In a shocking development, it became costly to presume loyalty on the street after rapper Lil Durk was imprisoned on federal accusations of murder for hire. When loyalty and trust were the norm, there seemed to be a rat in the family alone. How could someone close to Lil Durk have betrayed him and permitted his arrest? Among other recent reports, the Express Tribune claims that Durk was. The industry is in utter shock at this recent incident, which was discovered by an OTF member who secretly connected his boss, Lil Durk, to Quando Rondo's attempted murder, which led to Lil P's murder. According to reports, OTF Jam, the informant, wore a clandestine wire for years to collect intelligence for the government. OTF Jam was later made available. The largest fish, Lil Durk, was linked to the murder for hire plot against Tyan Terrell Bauman Sakes, a Rondo native who was freed from jail in 2022 after spending 12 years for attempted murder, according to recently made public documents. He was one of the first to tweet about gangster rapper Lil Durk's betrayal in the house, and he said the snitch was exposed for wearing a doubly eye. He also claimed to be an OTF member. According to some reports, OTF Jam wore a wire for a number of years. Had a 12-year sentence. When the news first broke online, it sparked a lot of discussion, with most people asking how OTF Jam was able to hide the wire for years without anyone seeing. While one user made a joke about hiding it in his big forehead, another user tried to explain that police officers now give you a little, incredibly sensitive sound recorder that you just have to put into your. However, this user's viewpoint appears to be up to date with the latest technology developments. It claims that a wire is a device that is all about you and that you may use your phone as the wire instead of wearing a movie wire. However, that is my view and not the reality. I believe that technology and rats have developed together, and I have to admit that wiring a rat doesn't seem like a very modern idea. Whack, a Vlad TV music executive and rapper, recently chatted with 100 individuals discussed Lil Durk's arrest and the alleged information that an OTF member had provided on him when DJ Vlad's program presenter brought up OTF member Jam's devious bullshit. The fact that Jam was freed from prison after 12 years and then turned on him during an interview in which he pledged allegiance and accepted gifts and praise from OTF Durk was deemed ridiculous by 100 people. According to DJ Vlad, Jam was only arrested for wearing a recording device in order to obtain information about Lil Durk and OTF. Jam was released from prison in 2022 after serving a 12-year sentence for allegedly attempting to kill Lil Po in 2010, the year of Lil Po's death. It's great, just like the music. CEO Whack 100 claims that the hip-hop world has been discussing and speculating about Jam's secret position a lot, and that the discovery of a rat in a family-only home and Lil Durk's imprisonment have brought a lot of attention to this apparent betrayal within OTF. A leaked 2023 interview with OTF Jam was made public by DJ Jerry Jam. OTF Jam remembered how the rapper Lil Durk supplied him with financial support and other forms of aid throughout his incarceration and how his songs pushed him. He also discussed his long-standing friendship with Durk and the support he got while incarcerated. "I remember Durk was making rap songs for our parties," he stated, prior to adding, "That was before the fame and the money he got me." OTF Jam's concerns about going to jail demonstrated how close, reliable, and devoted he and Lil Durk were before legal issues forced them to part ways, even if he did not address his claimed communication with the FBI to bring Lil Durk down. Lil Durk was accused of giving OTF Jam $50,000 so that he could pay his lawyers and change his ways after being released from prison. Perhaps Lil Durk included it in one of his, but I still can't remember the song. OTF Jam was questioned about the claim in the same interview and admitted that it was true. After OTF Jam was released from prison and reintegrated into the family, it is evident that a rat was brought into the house. But in L, there was no rat. Durk's own team. To be honest, it's hard to spot a rat, especially if the rat was responsible for most of the crimes you've been committing. Wearing the wire around Durk is strange, and it's reported that a childhood friend misled you after you looked out for him. I concur that only a friend should betray someone. An in-depth examination of Jam's treachery and the consequences for him on the streets is given here by a user. Durk has been a kind man who has been providing for him and feeding him steak during his 12 years of homelessness. After 12 years, he comes home to a life he could only have dreamed of, but he is discovered in possession of a firearm. Due to his violent past, he may face a couple of years in prison for the firearm accusation. A probationary violation assumed that he receives 3 points for the infraction and 5 points for the gun due to the charge. For the typical street person, that's a difficult pill to swallow, but for someone from the bottom who hasn't had any experiences for 8 years and has been used to a certain lifestyle, it won't sit well. It would cost that snitch more than what he was trying to protect, he continued, because the federal authorities will not safeguard his family because they lack the capacity to alter their surroundings or ensure their safety. Many people have begun to doubt the gang's allegiance after hearing about Durk's betrayal by one of his own, unless, of course, the federal government had offered him and his family security. Based on the content of their songs and the manner in which they perform, the Black Disciple Street Gang is unquestionably connected to OTF, which stands for Only the Family. The problem is that family does not necessarily mean blood links or cousins. Rather, it refers to a group of people who are united by a shared struggle and a will to live on the streets when their owner is unable to. OTF may be considered the gang's family beyond everything else. In my view, this explains why Lil Durk established OTF based on trust, which also explains why Lil Durk felt obliged to back OTF Jam when it was revealed that he had come out immediately upon his release from jail. The primary question is why OTF Jam broke the family code and betrayed his boss, who had been there for him during his terrible years. OTF Jam was reportedly convicted of a shooting in 2010 and sentenced to 12 years in prison before being freed in February 2022. His present charges status is uncertain, but according to police records XXL was able to obtain, he was arrested again on a warrant in May 2023 for the same offense. Does this mean that OTF Jam was compromised in order to keep him from being reincarcerated? Although loyalty was meant to be unwavering, anyone else could suffer in prison. Rumor has it that it's not quite that simple. According to The Street, Lil Durk had a man slain in vengeance for the death of his brother D and had the mother of Jam's child assassinated after learning that OTF Jam was wearing a wire. Social media user Flacco disputed the idea, claiming that the federal government believed Lil Durk had paid to have these two individuals slain. Lil Durk's brother Tifta was murdered by Stephen Mack. Durk killed his baby mama after realizing he was surrounded by a wire. I haven't come across any concrete proof to back up the Fed's belief that OTF Jam is the secret to locking up Lil Durk for all three bodies. Oddly enough, I stumbled into this internet troll when researching OTF Jam and the reasons behind his tip to the OTF founder. Undiscovered video of OTF Jam eating McDonald's while snitching on Lil Durk in what appears to be an interrogation chamber has led fans to claim that he was amusingly doing so. By encouraging his admirers to caption the photo, DJ Academics started the trolling, but his followers quickly let it go out of hand. However, OTF Jam was eating his Big Mac and fries with a wiry frame that resembled an electric rod when his employer, L, observed, "Bro snitched on Durk for a Big Mac and fries." And another said, "You're probably wondering how I got here. Durk was incarcerated." Rapper Lil Durk, whose actual name is Durk Banks, had been incarcerated and was facing murder accusations. The murder of Lua Quando Rondo's cousin is linked to the for hire plot. I know you were beginning to connect, but hold on as I explain something. Soon after, 5 people thought to be members of L were indicted by federal officials in California. OTF gang, a member of Durk's own family, and Lil Durk's gang were taken into custody. According to the allegations, these individuals planned to cross state lines in 2022 to carry out the purported attack on Quando Rondo's circle. In essence, a federal agent sprang into action and took 5 offenders into custody in relation to Q Rondo's cousin's killing in Los Angeles in August 2022. They are accused of planning to kill someone for money in vengeance for King Von's passing. The FBI appears to have been looking for a solid link between the murder and Big Fish Lil Durk in order to charge him with a more serious crime. Federal police reportedly acknowledged that the incident was a continuation of the horrific events that occurred in 2020 in the Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta, when Lil Durk's best friend was slain, even if it was named after his friends. The federal authorities can clearly see, in my opinion, that Lil Durk made the decisions regarding King Von's death without the help of an informant. The feds, in my opinion, merely wanted someone to incriminate him and provide significant evidence that Lil Durk took part in the strike in retaliation. Jam is a close circle affiliate of Lil Durk, and Jam's wiretapped body may have provided the FBI with a wealth of information. That person is actually OTF Jam. Naturally, when they succeeded in their mission, the most devastating occurrences in Durk's career occurred. DJ Akabamix was among the first to alert the industry of Durk's arrest, as was to be expected. He created a video and tweeted about the incident. Lil Durk was taken into custody by U.S. Marshals on Thursday and is being held at the Broward County Correctional Facility until he is sent to California on a federal murder charge for hire related to the murder of Quando Rondo's cousin, according to authorities. The 32-year-old rapper is being jailed without the option of bail while he awaits extradition to California to face federal charges, according to police documents from Florida's County Correctional Facility. His publicly available mugshot has the following narrative. Lil Durk founded the label Only the Family OTF in 2010 following the federal indictment of 5 OTF members on October 17th for allegedly trying to kill Rondo in 2022 because they were reportedly connected to the OTF gang. OTF is not a gang, he claims. In the case, Can London, Grant Deandra Dantrell Wilson, and other persons are mentioned in relation to King the rapper's death in 2020. Federal authorities have demonstrated that Lil Durk's incarceration is connected to the murder, despite the fact that he was not included as a defendant in the October 17 complaint. Charge against Keith Jones, David Bryan Lindsay, and ASA Houston for hire. The 5 people charged with El Pap's murder are not the only ones included in the indictment. Please have a look at this. Let's put the pieces together. The indictment details a carefully planned scheme by suspected OTF associates to kill Quando Rondo's cousin Lula after placing a bounty on him. After learning Quando Rondo's whereabouts, OTF members allegedly purchased airline tickets using a credit card linked to the record company, enabling them to travel from Chicago to California. Last Friday, prosecutors made their case against Lil Durk and his label, claiming that the family is a hybrid entity that functions as a criminal organization and a music enterprise. These people allegedly intended to avenge Quando Rondo because they thought the rapper was to blame for King Von's untimely death in 2020. Suspected OTF gang involvement was a part of a bigger scheme that included the shooting. The most recent charges state that the organization has committed horrible and repulsive acts under the supervision of banks, including the 2020 attempted murder of rapper Quando Rondo, who was allegedly preparing a retaliatory attack against Lil Durk's friend, rapper King Von. Both the previous indictment and the new charges hold the 5 people responsible for Quando Rondo's cousin's 2022 gunshot death. In the indictment, Durk is called Banks. Prosecutors claim Lil Durk ordered the 2022 shooting in reprisal for a 2020 shooting in Atlanta that was allegedly carried out by a Rondo associate. The prosecution claims that King Von was assassinated during a public confrontation between TB and Banks. The conflict started on November 6, 2020, when one of TB's associates shot and killed OTF rapper Devin Bennett. King Von Bennett, an OTF member and close friend of the bank, was also accused in the most recent accusation was on the verge of departing the nation when he was arrested. Authorities allegedly discovered that Lil Durk had purchased commercial flights to Dubai, the United Arab Emirates, and Switzerland, but he never boarded any of them after 5 OTF members were arrested. Lil Durk was detained shortly before he boarded a private jet to Italy after the FBI allegedly found out that he had purchased passage tickets. I believe Cat Williams to have stated, "This year is the year of truth," since co-conspirator 1 and other OTF members would place a bounty on TB Quando Rondo, also known as TB, according to the indictment, which seems to incriminate OTF as a whole. According to the most current petition, Defendant Wilson and other known and unidentified co-conspirators would get the bounty, pay the TB killers, and slash or give them rich music opportunities through OTF. Of course, because Lil Durk has a degree in cookery, I think he is named as co-conspirator 3 in the indictment. Investigate this with an OTF credit card. Authorities claim that co-conspirator 3 would purchase airline tickets to enable the other conspirators to visit California for tuberculosis treatment. Furthermore, the same credit card that was allegedly issued under the same name was used to make hotel reservations. The indictment states that TB was shot several times while riding in TB's car by Defendant Jones, Lindsay, and co-conspirator 2. You don't need an interpreter if you grasp the concept. Seniors are. Remember how it was reported that someone had found Quando Rondo's location after the attack on his camp? The second indictment overact, however, states that on August 18, 2022, one or more conspirators, including co-conspirator 4, learned that TB was going to California and staying at a hotel in Los Angeles, proving that the street is always right. Let's look at the indictment's wording before you get too caught up in the broader question of who snitched. Outline the horrific events of the day as recorded by the Federal Reserve. The murder crew located and attempted to kill TB at a Los Angeles gas station using 2 automobiles, one of which had a registered license plate. During the assault, the conspirators are alleged to have fired at least 18 shots at TB's car, some of which hit and killed TB. The murder squad later gathered at a cafe where they smuggled money, according to the prosecution, for the attack, and then committed a final error at dawn. They allegedly bought tickets to Chicago using the same credit card linked to the OTF. Take note of how the indictment connects the crime to King Von's murder in 2020. Therefore, it is reasonable for prosecutors to believe that the case is part of a larger conflict. after Von's premature death in Atlanta at the end of the 2020 incident involving King Von and Rondo's group. The relationship between Von's OTF associates and Rondo's camp soured. The revenge after V's death is believed to have continued with this freshly uncovered murder 4H scheme. But when I looked at this instance, I noticed the user remark that states, "Necessary because of its sensitive detection. Even more devastating is the realization that all of this mayhem is the consequence of an egotistical fistfight that happened in 2020, leaving Durk with a bowl of consequences that he may have to live with for the rest of his life." Rappers occasionally forget this, particularly when they have the funds to act like gangsters. The people you choose to spend your time with today and the people you spend time with greatly influence your life in general as well as your career. This is particularly true in the case of Lil Durk, as the founder of OTF had a great year at the beginning of the year before being swiftly accused of a crime that, if proven true, may result in life in jail. In short, this was the month before Lil Durk was arrested. For his efforts with the Heroes Foundation in his hometown, the Grammy Award winner was given 2 city keys, the village of Bellwood and the village of Broadview. The surprise gift of the city's key is just one of many accolades bestowed in recent years upon the self-described voice of the trenches. Was suspended for a week following his Friday arrest. Following the announcement that the rapper had been arrested by U.S. Marshals in Florida on charges of murder conspiracy, Broadview officials once again sent the honorary key that Durk had received from Chicago Village officials on October 18. Additionally, the mayor underlined that while the American system of everyone is presumed innocent unless proven guilty in the town of Broadview, where moral and ethical standards of behavior are considerably higher based on the citizens' public impression, this merely scratches the surface of the consequences of gang life. If you are lucky, you will probably end up in jail and have your name ruined. If you are unlucky, like King Von, you will probably be stuck 6 feet under. There are still some people who are considering what happened in V. I would like to take you back 5 years to a time when life and freedom were not valued. If it were worth it, King Von and his group went to the renowned Monaco Hookah Lounge, a well-liked nightclub in Atlanta, on November 6, 2020. Rondo and his group were also present. Despite the tense atmosphere and high tensions, none could have foreseen the catastrophic events that would take place throughout the evening. According to CCTV footage, following a violent confrontation between the two groups, King Von approached Rondo outside the nightclub and punched him first. The brawl swiftly spiraled out of hand and into anarchy as punches flew. He's leaking. According to reports, Rondo's first-day acquaintance produced a gun and started shooting. When King Von was hit multiple times, the crowd erupted. As the firing continued into the night, V's crew made a hasty attempt to evacuate him, but the damage was already done. When a medical practitioner tried to save King Von, he was gravely injured and sent to a neighboring hospital. One of V's supporters, Rondo, was incensed when Tim was detained at the scene and charged with King Von's murder before being freed on a $100,000 bail. Later, his injuries caused his death. He vehemently denied any involvement in the shooting in subsequent interviews, claiming that he had never had any issues with King Von and did not personally know him. Quetzal maintained that his crew and he were merely staying safe during the battle. 5 years later, those affected by what transpired at the Monaco Hookah Lounge are still coping with the consequences. Rondo and his men are still always afraid of King Von, even after his death. Retaliation, the death of a loved one, and most lately Lil Durk, who is likely to be imprisoned for the remainder of his life. Click the card that shows up on your screen if you like this video and would want to see more like it.